Okay, so this is now part one, section 3, and I want to give you an idea of what we, of what we cover and what you'll be getting in the course, and the course about reading the past, present, and future spread. And I'm calling this section the cookery book process, or maybe I've been here for so long I don't remember if cookery book is what they say in Britain or cookbook is what they say in North America, but one way or the other, it's about. You'll understand what I mean when I give you the example. I'm calling it the cookbook or cookery book process because if you look in a cookery book and you find a dish that you want to prepare, the normal procedure is that first they give you a list of the ingredients that you're going to need, and then once you've got the ingredients together, then they give you the method to follow so that you can produce the perfectly cooked and tasty whatever it is you're making. So I want to duplicate this approach. The ingredients I give you are various points that I think are worth considering, and then I'll give you the method. So the ingredients are sort of like part 1, and then the method itself is in parts 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to be producing tasty and satisfying tarot readings. So we're going to start with the ingredients. Which is some ideas about what the tarot is, what it's not, what it can do, what it can't do, how to approach it, and so on. And this is going to lead to better readings. I'm sure you've heard all sorts of old wives' tales, all sorts of stuff about the tarot and the right way to do things. So you may have read or been told that you shouldn't buy your own deck. I don't really understand that one. They also say you should put the cards under your pillow at night and you sleep on them, and that means that you energize them with your vibrations or something. I don't get that either. Other people say that there's mystical power in the cards themselves and they give off vibrations, that kind of thing. I want to say that some of what you've heard or read is just nonsense, though it might sound good. And it might create the impression of the reader having access to secret and magical knowledge. I'm thinking you probably do have access to secret knowledge, but I think the point is it's already inside you, right? And you can access it, this wisdom, but the knowledge or the understanding doesn't live in bits of coloured card that you shuffle. I think that's a kind of a mistake to look at the actual deck as having power on its own, you know, and you can energize it or you need to cleanse it from time to time. I don't think any of that stuff applies. At the same time, I want to say that the tarot is valid and useful. So there are some ideas that I think lead to confidence on the part of the reader, but there are other ideas we might call them misconceptions about what's going on or what you need. And these other ideas, these misconceptions get you anxious and fearful. You know, I didn't shuffle correctly, or I bought this deck for myself, therefore it will never work particularly well, you know, because somebody didn't give it to me. So when you deal with misconceptions or certain ideas anyway, you get anxious and fearful and you've become doubtful. So the reading isn't as good or isn't as useful. And it's not as useful for the reader as well as for the questioner. So in this course, we start with the ingredients, so to speak, the old cookbook thing. And then we consider the method itself for reading a past, present and future spread. So let me at this point give you an idea of what we'll be doing. If I can outline the steps we go through when it comes to actually making sense of a spread. So first I'm going to say that we begin by considering the card itself and what sense it conveys, right? That's step one. Then secondly, we relate the sense of the card to the question that's been asked. We don't start off trying to answer the question. I think you start with the card and get an idea of what it's about. Then you relate what it's about to the actual question that's been asked. And then thirdly, we look at the card, or we combine the card in that position with the cards in the other positions. So for the future, for instance, let's say the question is about somebody's prospects for a job, and the card in the future, let's say it's the Tower, okay? So we turn that card and we get the Tower, and we consider first what the picture shows on its own. The Tower generally shows upset, disruption, difficulty of one sort or another. That's it on its own. And so you would say a couple of things about the nature of the Tower card. There's a kind of scenario we might say about the card, and I'm going to be giving you examples in the videos of what you'd actually say to somebody. So you said a couple of things about the Tower on its own, or the Tower generally. Then you reconsider the sense of the Tower, but you relate it to the question, or to a question about a job promotion, right? Because what you say about job promotion is different from what you would say about the Tower as it relates to a marriage, or a difficult relationship, or a financial plan. Let's say it doesn't have to be a job. Maybe you've got an idea to go into business for yourself, right? So even though it's the Tower, you're going to say slightly different things depending on what the question is, even though all these answers may have the same idea that what's involved in the answer is some kind of disruption or need to reorder what you've got. And again, I'll be giving actual examples in later videos. So we said something about the Tower in the future on its own, as well as the Tower as it relates to the question. Then we combine that card in the future with the card in the present, let's say, to see how things are going to develop from now into the future. So let's say the card in the present is a Two of Cups, then we would discuss what the future would look like. It's a kind of development of the Two of Cups and how it's going to evolve, let's say. Or if the Two of Cups is reversed, then the future is going to be, let's say, more like this and this, right? Or if the present card shows the Three of Coins, then that card, the Three of Coins, in combination with the Tower in the future, would show a different type of experience or a different kind of difficulty than you would get with the Two of Cups reversed and the Tower in the future. Right, with one of them, maybe with the Three of Pentacles in the present, there's money difficulties in the future, or maybe the budget isn't going to cover what the plan is, right, if it's about a business. Whereas if it's the Two of Cups reversed in the present and the Tower in the future, then relationships are going to be more in need of repair, let's say, in the future. So I'm telling you this and giving the example to point out that what we go over in the course is not just theoretical, but it's more about real questions and actual answers that you would give to the questioner or to a person sitting opposite or somebody on the other end of the telephone. So I show you the method with examples so that when you work with your people and their actual questions, you know how to proceed. And you're going to know what to do in part because you will have practiced on your own by following the suggestions that I make in the course. So it's like there's an expression, you set the ball rolling, you know. So if you follow the suggestions, you'll kind of set the ball of your understanding rolling, right? So you're going to have basic, intermediate and advanced thoughts and ideas about particular cards and how to work with them and how to make sense of them depending on what the question is. And in the beginning, the ball of your understanding may roll very slowly, which is to be expected. But with practice and experience, that ball is going to roll an awful lot quicker, and you're going to pick up more and have more to say about any particular card. Also, because I'm going to show you how to experience moments of revelation. I'm going to show you how to develop that ability so that you turn a card and it seems to talk to you and you just know what it's all about. You don't have to think about it. You sort of go straight to the answer. At the same time, you don't need to memorize anything of what we're going over here. But if you can understand the method and apply it to yourself or apply it for yourself, then you're in the moment and you're reading the card and not trying to memorize something that made sense 6 months ago. So to give it an example, let's say the card for the answer is the Six of Cups. So first we see what's going on in the picture, but in a neutral kind of way. We might see, so we're not saying if this is good or bad. You can assume that it's good because it's Six of Cups, but we're not thinking along those lines at the moment. So we look at the picture and we can get the idea that an exchange is taking place. But we're not saying it's a good exchange or a bad exchange. And this is step one. Then if we think about the question that was asked, we can wonder in what way exchanging could be part of the answer. So let's say we've got a question about business. The Six of Cups can be an indication of good relations with other people, right? So maybe the staff in the business or the members of the company get along with each other, right? Six of Cups. Or there's good customer service, right? Again, good exchange, pleasant people, happy to see each other, willing to go out of their way to help other people, that kind of thing. So that's good for customer service. But let's say the Six of Cups is reversed. Then customer service might be something that has to be improved. Or maybe you've got a situation where the people in the same office don't get along with each other. So you need to find common ground or get people to understand that we're a team, you know, that we need to cooperate, we need to work together. And if we're not working together, let's figure out what's wrong and figure out how to fix it. At the same time, this exchange, there's an expression talking about fair exchange. So this Six of Cups might be, the exchange might be fair exchange. So we're talking about good prices in the or for the product of the company, or maybe it's value for money, right? Six of Cups. So we get a general idea from the picture and we talk about it. And then we relate the ideas from the picture to the actual question. And then later we can bring in other cards. Let's say we're dealing with the present. We can maybe look at the past. And in this way, what's happening is the reader is reading the cards. You're not just sort of depending on your intuition or weird ideas or moments of insight. You're reading the cards, or you're telling the story that the picture shows. And the important thing is the questioner can also see the picture, and they can understand the logic, and they can understand the method, and they can see the sense of what the picture or what the tarot is pointing to. And if we understand or we assume that the reason the tarot, part of the reason the tarot works is because the questioner already, some part of the questioner already knows the answer, and they're sort of telling themselves the answer through the tarot. So when they look at the picture, they can see and understand what they are really advising themselves to do. Okay, for this section of follow-up, I'm suggesting that you make a start by picking some cards one at a time and thinking about not so much what the card means, but instead what each card shows. And begin to build up a list of words to describe the action in the card. So the Four of Cups could be contemplation, or the Two of Swords can be contemplation as well, but maybe it's more about being at crossroads. You've got two ways you can go, two swords. Whereas with the Four of Cups, it's not like standing at crossroads, do you go left or right? It's more, what's the overall picture that I'm dealing with at the moment. So come up with a list of words for the action or the activity in each picture, but the list of words should be neutral, right? So you're not saying if it's good or bad. And this means that you can, in a reading, you can turn the Tower and you don't automatically think, oh no, it's going to be a disaster. It's all going to fall apart. It's going to be terrible. And because people do that, they turn the Tower and they think, oh no, and start tearing their hair. And they get kind of emotionally trapped in their own mind. And they think they're reading the tarot and seeing what's there, but they're not. Because the reader isn't supposed to panic and upset the questioner. And this is sort of developed and expanded upon in subsequent sections. So next is section 4, and it's called, It's Okay to Answer the Question.